Turbo and 2K show.
What is up, 2K crew? Yes, it does. It's kind of weird to say that, considering we haven't. We've kind of taken the summer off, 2K.
Yeah. How long has it been? Do you know?
I'm not really sure.
It's been probably close to 3 months. Don't you think?
Yeah. Probably every bit of it. Probably every bit of it. And as for those of you that are watching on YouTube, you kind of see a little bit different surroundings, and that's one of the first things I want to give a big shout out to K McAdam and the crew over here at the Marcellus News for letting us kind of make this our new home. And things are a little rough right now, but you know what? Figured why the hell not? Let's just throw it out there. We're rusty. Mm-hmm. Might as well, polish some stuff up, and it'll be kind of cool too to see the progression as we kind of move into this space a little bit more, kind of make it our own. But yeah, I'm super excited, 2Ks, and you would think that a normal producer would get here early, get everything set up, kind of get everything, the mics fine-tuned, but I got here like a half an hour ago. Yeah. So you know what? Screw it.
I mean, I think that's part of the reason why we've taken some time off. I mean, some things happened in both of our lives, and we're human. I mean, mm-hmm. this isn't our full-time job. We have jobs that that we have to do, multiple jobs that we have to do before this comes in line, and still going through some of those things. So, I'm hoping that everything gets back to a consistent time and everything. And now, like you said, with Kay allowing us to be in here, that's a huge game changer.
Oh yeah.
Bringing back internet and being able to do the live feeds. So that's a big deal. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on, and but it's good to be back.
Oh yeah. And what I think is the shame in all of this 2Ks is you and I still hang out, we still talk, we still pretty much do this, mm-hmm. but in either your living room or my living room, and not everyone gets the joy of hearing it. So mm-hmm. we're back. I feel like we're Mike and Mike. We're back and better than ever. But yeah, so pretty much the Marcellus News 2Ks is our first real sponsor. Mm-hmm. They're letting us mooch the internet and mm-hmm. all their electricity. So 2K crew, what I need you to do is go to marcellusnews.com and just subscribe virtually to the Marcellus News. Mm-hmm. It's quick and easy. I think Kay said it's $6 a month, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, it comes right to your email. It's super cool. And if you are from Marcellus, you kind of keep your toe dipped in that water mm-hmm. as to what's actually going on in the town. And if you're not, and you want to find out a little bit more about this little podunk town, that's a perfect way to do it. Mm-hmm. So marcellusnews.com, go ahead and get you all signed up and get your subscription. Well, 2Ks, man, I tell you what, if this is the perfect time to make a comeback, dude. Yeah. We've got college football, NFL football, mm-hmm. baseball. Hockey actually just started last week, mm-hmm. which, if you followed us for any amount of time, don't care. NBA's starting to roll. Draymond has already punched someone in the face, so that he's as far as that's concerned, he's kind of in mid-season form. So mm-hmm. that's good to see. But we like to focus a little bit more on the football side, a little bit more on the baseball side. So let's start off with some. You know what? Let's start off with this. Let's give the folks out there an update as to the Fantasy Football League. Mm-hmm. And so let's do this. Go to my screen share. And bam, right there. Mrs. 2Ks is actually leading on her side of the bracket.
I wonder who drafted that team.
And Mr. Jack Eggleston, I want to say, is the returning champion, the reigning champion. Sits at 1-3 on top of his side of the division.
Yeah. That one loss. Who's that one loss though? Who gave him that loss? Mr. 2Ks himself last week. My team got off to a shit start, but my team is coming around right now.
Well, both my team and your team are sitting at 2-2. Mm-hmm. We're pretty much like 70% of the NFL. Yeah. There's a lot of parity, and we've even seen some of that parity when it comes to the fantasy football side too. Mm-hmm. There's some of the players that we thought were going to score really high really haven't shown that,
Sure.
as well as some teams that we thought were going to be a whole lot better and really haven't shown that either. So just want to give a big shout out to everyone here, and I have a very good feeling 2Ks. This is going to be, this is week 5. And then normally there's one team that's running away with it and one team that's really shitty. And we really don't even have that.
No.
Everyone has a loss. Everyone has a win. So I think this is going to be one of the more entertaining leagues to keep an eye on that we've had. So with that out of the way, let's talk some playoff baseball. Let's first of all, big kudos to Mr. Albert Pujols. One hell of a run. I mean, it would actually be kind of cool to see him run it back. He does. I mean, he's in that upper echelon of dudes, and he seems to be healthy. Seems to be swinging it probably the best we've seen him swing in about
in
years.
The last couple of years, yeah, for sure.
And I kind of made the joke that wouldn't it be something that if the home run derby kind of reinvented his swing, rejuvenated its swing, and sure as shit, it did. It did in a big way. But the machine, if this is your last and final year, you and Yachty will pretty much walk into Cooperstown together.
Yeah.
And it's been a hell of a run. It's been a hell of a run, and good on you. Good on you. But I think that's about the max excitement for the Cardinals fans because they won the division and got bounced out.
Yeah, and have probably. I mean, I think it's pretty much said and done. They also have the MVP this year,
who was a triple crown threat. For the vast majority of the year, and it seems to be that team's kind of mantra. They usually get in somehow, but usually they have a little bit deeper run in the playoffs. Sure. Now, you could say that instead of the wild cards doing the one and done, now it's best of 3, but they lost the first 2, so it really didn't matter. And we also saw Scherzer get dinged up the first game of that series, and I'm trying to remember. I can't even remember a game that he gave up 4 home runs, let alone a postseason start.
Yeah,
and that was just. I mean, the ball was flying out of Queens, and let's see here. Because this was just the wild card rounds, correct? Mm-hmm. So Guardians wrapped it up against the Rays. Mm-hmm. The Mariners wrapped it up with the Blue Jays. Like I said, the Mets are, and then the Phillies. Which, looking at that series on paper, it's like there's no way the Phillies are going to be able to do this. But they did. And swept them 2-0. And tonight, the only game on tonight is, which is currently top of the 5th, is the Padres Mets. So, who's pitching that one? Hold on. Box score. I have a feeling Joe Musgrove started the game for the Padres, and for the Mets it was Bassett. So. Kind of a disconnect from the top 2, because you give me any amount of money and tell me, all right, game 1 is going to be started by Scherzer, game 2 DeGrom, and the Mets were kind of coy with that. They're like, we'll use DeGrom if we have to, but I mean, you go down 1-0 right out the gate. You have
no
to.
Choice. Nope. You
absolutely have to, because it's you lose, you're done. And he did his job last night. He did his job for sure. And now, granted, in this day and age, three runs is not a lot of runs. So it's still a lot of ball to be played there. But let's look ahead to Tuesday. We've got the Guardians at the Yankees, the Mariners at the Astros. The winner of the Mets Padres plays the Dodgers, and that's a hell of a consolation prize. And then Phillies at the Braves. So 2Ks. Let's do a little pick'em here. Now, mind you, these are best of 5, not best of 3 anymore. Guardians, Yankees. Think the Guardians have a chance?
No. I got to go Yankees here. Yeah, it's just Yankees too good of an offense. Guardians benefited off beating up on, not to say that to take anything away from the Guardians because they did have a better season than I expected.
Oh, yeah.
But I think they beat up on a very, very mediocre, poor division.
Yeah.
And the Yankees went through the gauntlet, of a division to get there. So, yeah, Yankees too good.
And this pains me to say, too, because I put in a futures bet. Hell, it was May, maybe? The Dodgers, Mets, Yankees, and Astros would all have 100 or more wins. The Yankees had 99. Fucking 99. But while we're talking about the Yankees, big shout out to Aaron Judge.
Yeah.
I mean, he's going to get paid.
Incredible season. I think you go back a few years ago to Miggy's run with the Triple Crown, and obviously just how special that was. But I personally put this over that. I mean, just to go and to beat this to break this record, to be a Yankee and do it in Yankee Stadium. It was an amazing season to watch, and kudos to him. He's gonna get fucking paid.
Yeah.
And I kind of hope that he goes elsewhere. I think he'll remain a Yankee. He's gonna get paid there, but I would like to see him test the market and see what some of these other teams are willing to pay him.
Oh, well, I have a very good feeling he will test the market. Will he ultimately end up back in New York? I think so.
And I think New York's the business decision too. I mean, if you're gonna hit that many home runs in any other ballpark,
right.
I don't know. So I think that's probably the smart play is just to stay there with the Yankees. But we'll see.
Come on over to Boston.
Yeah.
You can put a bunch of them over the monster, and we could live happily ever after. But let's take a second and talk about the Guardians. I mean, I'm almost positive at the beginning of the year, you and I were both throwing dirt on their grave, and Tito does it again. Tito does it again somehow.
Hall of Fame manager, one of the best to ever do it. I mean,
does it quietly.
And when he was doing it in Boston, it really with those lineups that he had majority of his time there, it wasn't like it was huge surprise that they were doing it. Not to take anything away, because it doesn't. It's Major League Baseball and it's hard to win, and I don't care who you have on your roster. But to go here to Cleveland now, where he's had a very, very subpar rosters on paper, pretty much every single season that he's been there, and it just seems like he gets this team to postseason baseball.
Yeah.
Every single year.
It's like this is the prime example of they're the ones that get rid of their superstars. They trade their superstars. They don't pay them. Francisco Lindor, prime example. But yeah, good on Tito. But I don't even think the Guardians take a game, dude.
No,
I really don't.
Houston's freaking good.
But if you look at the top end of both the starting pitching, you got Biebs.
Oh no, they got
you got Biebs and an upcoming superstar, I think, in Tristan McKenzie. And compared to the Yankees' top two, Garrett Cole and Severino, would you say, be the top two?
Yeah.
I think you would have to go Yankees on this, just on the pure experience, but pure stuff. I think those two match up with the Yankee studs just as well as anybody else does. But obviously, the backbreaker in this one is going to be the Yankees' offense.
Yeah.
The Yankees' offense, I think, is just too good, and they're going to keep rolling. And I really don't. Like I said, I think this is a clean sweep for the Yankees.
Yeah.
Clean sweep.
This is one of those series where I think you'll see Francona do a lot of bullpen games where. You're not going to really see a true starter there. There's 3-4 pitchers that the Yankees have, and they're going to try to roll with those starters and kind of do it the traditional way. And you're going to see Francona kind of try to piece games together. Probably the best manager that I've ever seen in my life at putting a bullpen together and being able to piece, get through games and just piece things through. So, I think that a best case scenario, they can get 2 games in this series, but I'm kind of with you. I think there's a better chance they get none, maybe possibly 1. But yeah, that Yankees offense is just way too good.
Since you mentioned the bullpen, I think that's the nod you have to give the Guardians. Down the stretch, the Yankees bullpen's been banged up. The closer role has been up in the air for quite a while, and yes, we are nitpicking on a team that has 99 wins. So, but. Let's stay in the American League. Mariners at Astros. We have kind of the darlings of the of the postseason against America's most hated team. So it is pretty much like a Cinderella story here. And I'm pretty sure JV's starting game 1, which shouldn't be a shocker to anybody. But yeah, this Mariners team is young. This Mariners team can pitch. This Mariners team is very good. Very good 2Ks. First time in the postseason in 20 years. So good on them. This series, I see this a little bit closer. Not because I think the matchups themselves. Granted, it is going to be able. Let me see if they have the starter listed here.
They don't. Mariners don't have.
They do not. Undecided. Yeah, which after going through their series, that Castillo kid that they have, that was probably. I'm not sure what they gave up to get him. He's from Cincinnati, right? Mm-hmm. And dude's 6'7", throws 100 miles an hour like you and I just play catch. And dude is filthy. Mm-hmm. Filthy. And yes, they broke him off. He got paid. So he's going to be there for a while longer. You've got superstars in the making, and J-Rod, and just the list goes on and on with this team. But the Astros are the Astros. I mean, I think this game goes. I do think the Mariners will get 1, maybe 2, but I think ultimately the Astros, their experience is going to play a factor. I think Dusty, the manager, has to play a factor. So, but I with this roster and the way the Mariners are set up right now, it is not going to be another 20 years before they make it into the playoffs. But yeah, I think this one is closer than the Yankees Guardians, but I think you still have to give the nod to the Astros.
Yeah. No, yeah, I'm actually going to disagree with you on that. I think this one's a sweep. I think Astros sweep this one. I think the Astros are the best team in the American League. I think the Astros are the only team that can possibly match up against, give it away, shocker here, match up against the Dodgers in a World Series. Just because this is the best offense in the American League. I mean, when you look at what Jordan's done this season, you still have Altuve, you have Bregman. Look, I hate those fucking guys too, but I'm going to be the first ones to give them, kudos that they are freaking damn good players.
They won 106 games.
And then you have young guys like Kyle Tucker, Jeremy Pena that have kind of come up and fill in the void of Carlos Correa not being there. Mm-hmm. This is the best Houston team that I think possibly that we've seen.
They're the most complete,
even better than the cheating fucking scandalous team that won the World Series here a few years back. No, I think this one goes a sweep, all Houston.
Yeah, that's more. I think that's more of me just trying to will and hope the Mariners win a game, but I really don't. We really can't talk about the Dodgers series. But do you think the Mets or the Padres could even match up with this Dodgers team?
This Dodgers team is maybe the best baseball team ever assembled. Actually, it's probably not maybe. It probably is at this point now. Where's the hole? They don't have a hole in it. They're the best offense in all of baseball. They're arguably the best pitching staff in all of baseball. They have a spectacular bullpen. They run the bases well. They defend well. There's nothing. They don't have one weak spot.
No.
In their entire lineup. So to me, with the Dodgers, they're the only team where it's like it's win or bust. Like they have
absolutely.
to win a World Series with this team because this is the best baseball team probably ever assembled.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna say if Tatis is on the Padres, they would stand a chance against this. The big thing here, 2Ks, is getting back to the 5-game series as opposed to 7. Mm-hmm. If either one, the Padres or the Mets, were to face this team in 7, I'd give them a little bit more of a chance.
Sure.
But 3 wins is a whole hell of a lot easier to get than 4. Mm-hmm. And I mean, we can't even knock Kershaw anymore. Playoff Kershaw has showed up.
Yeah.
That was the big monkey on his back for years and years and years. He can get it done in the regular season, but can't get it done in the postseason. Mm-hmm. Well, he's changed that moniker very, very quickly, and it pains me to say it because Rich Thornburg, your Dodgers are good.
Oh,
your Dodgers are good.
Now, I do think that there's a better chance that the Dodgers drop a game or two coming off of coming through the National League and the playoffs because, look, whether they get the Padres or the Mets, either team, the Padres and the Mets both are better than Seattle. They're both better than the Guardians.
Yes.
I'd go as far to say that the Padres and the Mets are better than anybody in the American League except for the Houston Astros.
Yeah.
I'd even say that they're just as good, if not better, than the Yankees.
And,
so
you know,
the national that's where it can get interesting here on the National League side is because there's some freaking good teams over here, and that possible matchup. To me, the Dodgers are so much better than everybody, but there's the star power that both the Mets have and the Padres have. Unfortunately, no Tatis in that.
Yeah.
The star power that those two teams have, they could knock off the Dodgers, and it wouldn't be a shocker just because of the star power that they have. I mean, you look at the Mets, and you got to go through Lindor, and you got to go through Pete Alonso. Those guys get hot for a 3-game stretch. All of a sudden, so that's where it gets a little bit complicated. And then, could you imagine having Tatis over there? Like, I still say the Dodgers are a much better team on paper, even if they do have Tatis. But Tatis and Soto can win a game alone. I
was just gonna say since that trade to San Diego, we really haven't seen Soto be Soto.
He hasn't been great.
No, he's gotten some clutch knocks, but as far as grabbing the nuts and looking down the pitcher, there hasn't been that swag. There hasn't been, but it's first time in his career he's ever been traded.
And then the thing is too. Now we're getting into the big time where we didn't really see all that in the year that the Nationals made their run and won the World Series until we got to the playoffs.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden he was doing it to Justin Verlander.
Love it.
And it was like, who the hell is this guy?
But we know now. We know now. And like I said, he hasn't even really turned it on. Mm-hmm. And the scary part is that the Dodgers are still going to be the Dodgers next year. But the Padres are too.
Oh, yeah.
All their arms, all their big guns are locked up at least through next year. I'm almost positive. Mm-hmm. Granted, there's always some turnover, but you got a lot of young dudes there. You got some vets too, which I think that's kind of where the Mariners kind of fall off, is they don't have the established vets. Yeah. But yeah, the Dodgers are good, and
they're so good.
To me, right now, whether it's the Padres or the Mets, that's the most intriguing series for me, just because of the star power we just talked about on both sides. Mm-hmm. And now we haven't even gotten to the Braves Phillies yet. Mm-hmm. But in my eyes, whoever the Dodgers play, that's must see baseball for me.
Yeah.
And speaking of Phillies Braves, Braves somehow, some way, and the AL East here is represented with three teams. And the Mets is a 100-win team. Might not even make it out of the first round.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that East is loaded. And the Braves winning 100 games does not shock me. Mm-mm. Does not shock me at all. That is a good squad and very well coached, very well managed. And
somebody howling at the moon out there or something?
I'm not sure. Kay, is this building haunted?
Yeah, what the hell?
I mean, we got a gravestone right there. At least I think that's what it is.
Oh.
The joys of a new studio, right? But no, the Phillies have guns. They're in the playoffs for a reason. But it's hard to take an 87-win team over a 101-win team. And I really don't think that this one here is the only way you'll get me to watch any of this is because I'm a Braves fan. I love that team. I love those young studs that they have, and just seems like they keep getting younger because their farm system is absolutely amazing. Every guy they bring up balls out, and they sign him really quick. Mm. You look at the Acuna Jr. signing. Yeah. Look what all these guys are getting now.
Yeah.
The Braves got him on the cheap, and I think too with they locked up Austin Riley, which you and I both. I'm pretty sure the last time we recorded I was kind of joking and poking that this guy deserves some MVP votes.
Yeah.
And rightfully so.
Sure.
I mean, he continued this run all the way through the season.
Yeah. I mean, the power numbers and the RBIs were really there to kind of compare with Goldschmidt.
Yeah.
The only thing is the Goldschmidt just continued to keep batting right around that 320, 330, flirted with the Triple Crown to where, Riley ended up kind of going. At the halfway point of the season, he was he was like 305, 308, and then ended the season like 278 or something like that. So he did slump off on that. But still, power numbers were there. I mean, guy had a freaking amazing season, and we talk so much about Acuna, and deservingly so. But I think that was a guy that was just kind of caught in the wash and forgot about him, and just because of a couple down years.
And
it wasn't even down years.
No.
It was just not the expectations that I think that a lot of people had for him when he was coming up, and he made that jump through the minors so fast. Everybody had just unreal expectations for him, and he just played mediocre baseball and just did his job. And then all of a sudden, now year 3, year 4,
it's all clicking.
Yes,
it's all.
Yes.
I mean, he's always had a good glove. He's always had power. It's just getting everything to be consistent the way a normal MLB third baseman should be. And getting back to Goldschmidt, do you think Arenado will actually take some of his MVP votes away? Because that team has two MVP candidates batting back to back.
Yeah. I mean, and like when I said it earlier that Goldschmidt pretty much has it as a lock, and I believe he does.
I do too.
I think a lot of people probably, if they didn't follow baseball real close, probably would have thought I was talking about Arenado. And not to take anything away from him, because he had a great year. He had a great year, but Goldschmidt has had the best year. Goldschmidt's had the best year of anybody in baseball that's not named Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani.
Yes.
And, and it just so happens that Ohtani and Judge play in the same league, so they, only one of them can win. Nothing. And Ohtani has, Ohtani maybe had a better season this year than he did last.
Oh yeah.
I definitely on the rubber he did.
Yeah.
And so, but 62 home runs. 62 home runs is something that we haven't seen, other than Barry Bonds to do it.
We haven't seen it in the American League, period.
Yes. So you just can't. It's incredible. It's one of those things that who knows how many more years it's going to be until we see it again. And I'm sorry for Shohei, though. His knock is playing meaningless baseball.
Yes.
That team has got to figure it out and start winning some games and be relevant down the stretch. To be able to compare with an Aaron Judge playing for the New York Yankees, hitting 62 home runs. What Ohtani does is fucking amazing. And when it comes to most valuable player to a team, there's no he's the most valuable player to a team than anybody in baseball because what he does on the rubber and what he can do at the plate. But when you're not playing meaningless baseball and Judge is doing it in Yankee Stadium in front of
all the lights.
Yes. Judge has my vote.
Yeah, and this is something too that you and I talked about the last time, and I kind of jokingly brought it up because I in my eyes it's a slam dunk, Aaron Judge, but there was a lot of clamoring on Twitter that whoa, let's take a look at what Shohei's been doing. And the only way we can compare him for anything is what he did last year. And you're right, his stats, aside from the home run numbers, are better this year than they were last. So when yes, Judge does deserve all of the credit, all of the light, because like you said, he did it in Yankee Stadium, and even though Shohei's doing things we've never seen before, chicks dig the long ball. And for Aaron Judge to do what he did, and I can't remember who it was on ESPN. They were making this argument, and they said, you know what? If Aaron Judge has a normal Aaron Judge year, the Yankees don't make the playoffs.
Sure.
His big hits, just him being in the lineup and doing what he does is the reason the Yankees are in the playoffs. Cue the train. And yeah, I kind of thought moving away from the village was gonna fix the train, but you know what? Who cares? Let it run. Let it run. But I see this Braves series going 4. I think the Phillies get 1, but I really don't think it's going to be a very competitive series. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm Braves all the way. Braves too good. Braves too well managed, and they just see. To me, they're just so consistent, and they don't really kind of talking about the Dodgers. They don't have the star power that the Dodgers have, but they don't have any weakness.
No.
You know, there's nothing to the entire team that's a weak point. So yeah, I have to go Braves, and the Phillies are just. There's not, to me, the Phillies are just, they kind of got in there, and not to end. They played in the best division in baseball, so you can't take anything away from them. But to me, there's a gap between the Braves and the Mets, and then it's the Phillies at 3.
There's a reason they finished 1, 2, 3 in that division for a reason.
Yep.
And just I just pulled up the Austin Riley finished the season at 273, 38 home runs, and 93 RBIs.
Yep.
Matt Olson, he hit 240.
Matt Olson
34 home runs.
Got hot in the second half of the season.
103. Yeah, and we kind of talked about it. That's a sneaky signing for the Braves. Obviously, they don't re-sign Freeman. He goes to the Dodgers, and you and I talked about it last time. If you're a Braves fan, you hate to see Freddie leave, obviously, but to kind of fill that void as quick and easy as they did. Olson's a hell of a fit and probably a better fielder. And Freddie's going to hit you a better batting average. He flirted with 300 all year. I'm not sure if he actually – let me check it out here. Yeah, he finished at 325, 21 home runs, and 100 RBIs. So Matt Olson gave you all of that stat line except for, 75 points on the batting average.
And I wonder the one thing with Freddie that I would wonder in that is what his on-base percentage is, because the guy freaking takes more walks than anybody in the game that's not named Juan Soto. So
him and Joey Votto.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're in for a lot of great baseball 2Ks, and I know the knock. Oh, hold on. Padres are up 4-0, top of the 6th, 2 outs. I thought I clicked over and it said final. I'm like, holy shit! All right. Yeah, it's like, man, those innings went fast. Well, 2Ks. Let's switch gear and talk about a little bit of NCAA football. What do you say?
Yeah.
Well, your Michigan team's a fucking wagon, dude. They're not a covering wagon.
No.
They're a win wagon right now. They're number 4 in the nation, and my only gripe with them is, how in the world can you cover a 52-point spread week 2 and can't cover a 22.5 point spread this week, only to cover by 21? And held 2Ks midway through the third quarter, was it? It was still 17-10.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, this Indiana team, their defense is horrible.
Yeah.
It's the worst defense in the Big Ten. Michigan has, I think it's the best rushing attack in the Big Ten. The real question that was on a lot of people's minds was, can JJ's arm win us a game? Now, this was leading up to the game and in game day and everything else. They're like, all right, well, this is going to be his coming out party. This is going to be his coming out party. And let me grab the box score here.
Second half it was. Second half he did. He did it in the second half.
He went 28 of 36, 304 yards, 3 touchdowns. Did have his first pick of the year. But
which was not an awful pass. It was a good pass. It was a great play by the defender from Indiana to get a hand on it and bat it and cause a deflection that pretty much ended up right in the defensive back's hands. Easy pick for him, but it was a great play by the linebacker. I think it was a linebacker actually that was able to dive in there and get his hand on it. But
the big stud leading up to this game and even through this game has been Blake Corum.
Yeah.
I mean, he 25 carries, 124 yards and a tud. Ronnie Bell has a coming out game, which I think if anyone that follows Michigan, I'm not even going to say a Michigan fan, this is a guy we've been waiting to see. He was out all last year with the knee. looks like he's all the way back.
Yeah, this past week was definitely his best game that he's played, but the thing with him is it seems like he's gotten better every week that's went on. I think he's getting his confidence back with the knee. I mean, you have a major knee injury, you're out for the whole year. Reconstructive surgery, obviously. It takes a few reps to get it going, and I think that he's finally at that point where he's back to his peak level of playing one of the best wide receivers in the nation. And look. Biggest game of the year for them is this coming Saturday against Penn State, and they're going to need him to have a huge game to be able. Penn State's a very good team, and
that's a home game, though, right? That's what I thought.
So, but they're going to need Ronnie Bell's best. So I'm glad to see him, starting to play his best football of the year right now, going into this game, and I think same thing can be said for. A lot of players on that Michigan offense. They played 3 fucking cupcakes.
Yeah.
3 fucking non-conference cupcakes that I don't think we really got a whole lot learned much about it. And a lot of those starters that were playing were only playing about a half of those football games. So now they went through a Maryland team that I don't think Maryland's great, but I think Maryland's better than what they have been in the past.
Yeah, Tua's brother can spin it.
Yes. They have a very good offense, kind of similar to Indiana. They have I shouldn't say good. They have a solid offense. Either one of those teams have a very good defense.
Right.
And then they play against Iowa. Iowa has a great defense, but they have no offense.
None.
So Michigan was able to move the ball and against that Iowa offense, put points on the board, did what they needed to do. I think in the second half with Michigan, you didn't see them really trying to take any chances because Iowa does capitalize on turnovers.
100%.
And I think with Michigan's lead, they were confident in just putting it on the defense and not making any mistakes on offense and just basically relying on your defense and trusting your defense and they were able to do that. So, but now they're going to go into they have Penn State, and Penn State is damn good. They're another undefeated team. So it's going to be a battle there. It always is. And then they're going to have a bye week and go into Michigan State. And I don't give a shit what Michigan State's done this year so far and how shitty they've looked. They will play their best football game against Michigan.
Yes.
They always do. That's just and they will. And to me, Michigan State's season's over. It already is over.
100%.
What's the one thing that they could hang their hat on? and you know that they will. That the only thing that matters to them at this point now for the rest of the season is if they can hang their hat on beating Michigan. If they could beat Michigan, I think it makes their entire season. So you're going to get their best shot. And I don't care. You're way more talented. You're way more athletic. You're way better than them. And if you lined up and played 10 times, you'd beat them 9 times out of 10. But they're gonna get that best shot, and they better be ready to fucking play.
Yep.
Because if Michigan can't beat Michigan State this year, holy shit, people are gonna fucking lose it.
And now,
including myself.
Mind you, this is a Michigan State team that lost 49-20 against Ohio State. Let me get C.J. Stroud's stats up here. Dude had more touchdown passes than incompletions. He went 21 of 26, 361 yards, six touchdowns, and a pick. And let me see, did he run any? No, he did not have any rushing touchdowns. But, excuse me. This team's a wagon too, dude. And yeah, again, this on paper, it is a game Michigan should dominate.
Oh, absolutely, but it won't. I just don't see that happening where they go in there and just dominate them because that game.
It's a rivalry game.
It is, and anything can happen, and it's a scary one.
And let's keep cruising here. Georgia beats Auburn 42-10. Oddly enough, where is it? Stetson Bennett. I mean, he didn't have a stellar day. Most of these, he only threw 208 yards, no touchdowns. All the touchdowns came. There's 1, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, all the touchdowns came from rushing touchdowns. But he started off the year hot.
Yeah,
hot. I mean, it was one of those things that, okay, Stetson Bennett, pencil him in for a Heisman candidate. Do I think he'll win it? No, but that team hasn't needed him to put up 300 yards and 4 passing touchdowns every week.
Yeah.
It's kind of scary to say that this Georgia team might be better than the one last year. Granted, still early, but the one that gets me 2Ks is old Saban's flirted with a couple weeks in a row now that
Bryce Young being out is a big deal.
100%.
But look, I was thinking about it earlier this week, especially after watching that Georgia-Missouri game last week. First of all, you might as well, as long as Ohio State can keep C.J. Stroud healthy and he plays every single game this year, you might as well just cancel everybody else going to the Heisman party because that's his award. I mean, and the kid's a stud, and he's got 3 fucking NFL wide receivers on his team. He's got an NFL running back that stands behind him. He's got probably the best offensive line in college football. So it should just be. It's like basically watching him play a video game every Saturday. They have the best offense. And the second thing I'm going to get at is we've seen Alabama play 2 very suspect games. And probably should have got beat by Texas when they played that game there. They got very fucking lucky. Yeah. Bryce Young was able to put one drive together at the end and was able to get out of there and win that game. And Georgia and Missouri last week, Georgia got freaking lucky. And to me, Ohio State's the best team in college football right now. They should be number 1.
Their most complete team.
They haven't had any hiccups. They have went through their schedule and just blown teams away. It's not like Georgia's played against anybody, really good. Oregon, whatever. Oregon's not really good. They're good. They're solid. And Alabama, they haven't played against anybody they spectacular. And they won't until they play against Georgia or one of the other powerhouses there in the SEC. But Ohio State has just taken care of business. They beat everybody that they've played by 28, 30 points. They haven't had anything close. Notre Dame is really the only team that's went in there and played a respectable game against them. And that was even really a blowout. Notre Dame, I think, just took the air out of the ball as much as they could. Yeah. And, which probably is the right thing to do against that team. And still, that game was really a blowout. It wasn't like it was ever a time in that game where you thought, man, Ohio State's in trouble here. So, to me, Ohio State's the best team in college football. I would probably go Georgia after them from what we've seen, Alabama 3, and then still Michigan at 4. But, yeah, I think Ohio State so far is that best team.
And there were some sneaky games on the schedule this week, 2Ks. Obviously, game day was down in Kansas for the first time ever. And we saw, speaking of Heisman candidates, 2 of them go head-to-head. It was a hell of a game. TCU ends up winning at 38-31. But that was a great game. We saw Brian Kelly's nuts get kicked in 40-13 by a Tennessee team.
Gotta love it.
Oh, yeah.
Gotta love it.
Because we're family. We're family. Yeah, whatever. And, there was UCLA. I mean, that's a team that, they're still going to the Big Ten, right? That's what I thought. So the 2 new additions to the Big Ten are showing up and showing out, and will be a very nice addition to that west side of the bracket that desperately needs it. Yeah. Desperately needs it. Let me see if I can find the post here. And I actually kind of got got roasted a little bit more than I thought. It said, and this was yesterday. If the season ended today, we could have a Michigan-Nebraska Big Ten title game. How exciting! And I mean, granted, most of these teams have played 2 or 3 games in the conference, but Michigan, Ohio State, and Penn State are all undefeated, so they lead the East, and then the West. Nebraska's 2-1.
Yeah.
Then Purdue
fired their coach.
Yes. Scott Frost gone. Purdue, Illinois, Minnesota, Iowa, and Northwestern are all 1-1. Wisconsin 0-2.
Yeah.
That's a bunch of hot garbage.
They have to figure it out with that. I don't. Do USC and UCLA both go in on that side of the Big Ten? I don't know how you do it either. I don't know how you reconstruct it, but it has to change because it's freaking god awful.
Yeah.
It is awful. How, because I thought, well, especially after watching the Michigan State game where Michigan State just wipes them out. And at this time, I'm still thinking Michigan State's decent.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, man, Minnesota, they're the team. That's going to be the team that's going to be matching up against either, Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State, possibly. And then on that side, that's going to be the team that's matching up. And then they just go out and get beat by Purdue the following week. And then yesterday, what was it that? Oh, Wisconsin comes out of nowhere. They haven't been able to put points on the board. They fired their head coach and Chris, and then they come out and beat Northwestern. And now I know it's Northwestern, but still, Pat Fitzgerald, who is a damn good football coach, and you got to think that Northwestern's going to be ready to play a game. And you're not. As long as Pat Fitzgerald has been there, you really have never seen Northwestern just get blown out. And Wisconsin just blows the doors off of them. And now you're looking at, it's not like any of these other teams are running away with anything. No. Is this Wisconsin team going to figure it out? And are they possibly going to be in? Either way, I don't really care how you put it. You can take all those teams and play against Michigan, Ohio State, or Penn State, and I think all three of those teams beat every single team 9 times out of 10 on that side. Yes. Like, that's just where I'm at with it. I think it is. The way that they have it broke down right now with the Big Ten, it's so awful. It's terrible. And in most years, Michigan State's supposed to be good. So there's a lot of years where the 4 best teams in the Big Ten are all coming from the same.
Absolutely.
So they have to change it up.
Well, let's talk about my Irish for a little bit, 2Ks. Obviously, not the start to the Marcus Freeman era that we all thought was going to happen, but. Oh, if I hit the right conference here, or lack thereof. Independent, there we go.
Yeah, I was going to say, what conference did you hit?
Yeah, Conference USA of all conferences. But what BYU is always a tricky game. No matter where it is, who's their quarterback, doesn't matter. The irony of this game is you send the Mormons and the Catholics to Vegas to play. I mean, granted, hell of a venue. I'm not downgrading that, but what I'm saying is just kind of ironic. But Notre Dame pulls out 28-20. Even though Notre Dame was 2-2 heading into that, BYU was 4-1, ranked number 16. Notre Dame was a 4-point favorite. I think when the betting closed on this 2Ks, and I was happy with what I saw. We ran the ball well. Drew Pine, 22 of 28, 262, 3 touchdowns and a pick. I'll take that. But the only question mark for me, 2Ks, is you can't throw Michael Mayer the ball every single play. It seems like it. He had. When's the last time you saw a tight end have 11 catches for 118 yards?
Yeah. Rob Gronkowski.
Yeah.
Travis Kelce. I mean, those are about the only 2 names that come to my mind.
Like, this dude is a beast. I mean, you and I were talking last night about, Kyle Pitts goes in the top 5 last year. I mean, granted, a freak athlete. Mayer is not the same athlete as him. He's a different type of athlete. He's very Gronkish, if you want to get it like. I'm not saying he's Gronk yet, but does have a lot of that Tyler Eifert in him. We're kind of seeing that tight end U come back to Notre Dame, and he's, granted, only a junior, but he is gone after this year. Would not expect him to return. But I, of course, was disappointed the way the season started. I'm very realistic. I thought there was no way in hell they were going to beat Ohio State. So for them to actually have a lead in that game, I was pretty pumped. But then again, they came back to earth. Ohio State became Ohio State again. So I really wasn't that one didn't bother me. The next 2, those kind of bothered me. I mean, granted, we lose our quarterback in one. Pine comes in. It was actually quite a battle between those 2 in the preseason to see who got the nod there. But what with this team, what kind of irritates me the most is everyone. The whole thing about the offense in particular was, well, you can hang your hat on the offensive line. The offensive line has been garbage. I mean, it's we're watching the Bengals here on your phone. kind of reminiscent of what Joey Burrow's going through right now. And we knew going in there was going to be lack of, that star stud receiver. Yes, Mayer's there. Yes, but I'm pretty sure what Marcus Freeman envisioned was we're going to run the ball, we're going to run it often, and then we're going to work these young receivers in probably the way they should, instead of just kind of throwing them off the deep end of the pool. And we kind of saw that in the Ohio State game, but they couldn't. That offensive line wasn't moving anybody. And we got a stable of running backs that are legit, and we're just now seeing, I think, what Coach Freeman envisioned this team was going to look like. The defense is good. The defense holds their own, but when the offense can't really stay on the field, that defense is going to get tired. They're going to get worn out. And I think, too, 2Ks, ultimately, I don't think the cupboard was as full when Coach Kelly left. I think there was a lot more question marks than we all thought about this team. But I think moving forward, I'm happy with what I see. Sure. And now the scary part is the upcoming schedule is quite this is where it gets hard. We got Stanford next week, which they're very un-Stanford-like. They're 1-4. But then we get into, then we've got UNLV. Not worried about that one. Syracuse.
Yeah, well, were you worried about Marshall?
No, no. But then, week 10, when we get into November.
Yeah, that's where
Clemson is back. Clemson is back. They look scary. We got USC, and sprinkled in there the Navy game, and this is where, and then Boston College, and then we wrap it up at USC. So there's a lot of tough football ahead. 2Ks.
Yeah, but this team, this is not the same Notre Dame team. The team that played last night against BYU and beat BYU is not the same Notre Dame team that lost to Marshall with Buckner as their quarterback. Drew Pine was the right choice. I think he showed now that he was the guy that should have started week 1. And I think if he was the guy that started week 1, probably not in the situation. You don't beat Ohio State, but you beat it through Marshall playing. So, and I think after everything happened, and Pine goes in and Buckner gets hurt, and they lost to Marshall. You look ahead of the schedule and you see a team like North Carolina. You think there's a big possibility that they beat us. And you were able to get out of that game. Then you look at BYU and you think that's a good possibility we're going to lose that game too. They get through that game. We're starting to see I think the Notre Dame team that we expected at the beginning of the year is starting to show itself a little bit. I think you're going to go through UNLV. You're not going to have a problem. You're going to go through Stanford. You're not going to have a problem. You're going to, the next game I see on the list that's going to be a challenge is going to be that Syracuse game. Yeah, Syracuse is legit. That'll be a challenge, but I think they're kind of comparable to BYU, a team that Notre Dame should still have their way with and win. To me, if Notre Dame can kind of pick it up from here, win the games that they should win, I don't think they get through USC. No. USC wouldn't surprise me if they're playing in the playoff. That's how good of a team I think they are. So, but Drew Pine has saved this Notre Dame 100%. This season and where it was going and where it could be at right now. And he's come in and just won every game that he started. Hey, look, it didn't look pretty in the beginning, but where he's at now and how he played last night, this is a whole different football team that I think, at least for Notre Dame fans, I think they're going to be able to watch the rest of the season and respect. Yeah. And what happens from here on out. So. Because it could have got really, really bad, and it could have got really, really bad for Marcus Freeman real fucking quick. Yeah.
And there were, obviously, after the Marshall loss, there was a ton of folks calling for him to get fired. And I'm like, will you guys just calm down? Calm down.
He lost a bowl game and a fucking game to Ohio State, who's probably going to go on to win the championship this year. Yeah. And then, it takes a loss to Marshall, which should never happen. But this guy, 3 weeks prior, was, the
savior.
Yeah, he was more important than touchdown Jesus at that university. So now all of a sudden, they lose to Marshall and everybody wants his job. Yeah. He's going to be fine. And if you look at the recruiting class that he has coming in next year and the year after that, and the year after that, they're going to be fine. They are going to be just fine.
Yeah, like I said, I still firmly believe that that the cupboard wasn't as full as everyone thought. But I know this is going to sound weird, but if anyone can right the ship, it is him, just because I love his personality. I love his flair. I love everything that he's about, and I'm happy he's our coach. So, well, 2Ks, we lost our bet, dude.
Yeah, I know. It's because you fucking wrote it with me,
Yeah,
man.
I know it.
I gotta stop telling you.
Yeah, just tell me the opposite.
No, man, I've been on a little bit of a hot streak.
Yeah, and I was actually gonna talk to you, see if we want to do like a sports betting 101 on the show, because you're obviously, I mean, you are untouchable right now. Like you should be one of the guys on Hammer Down with
and just like
with
dumb and
McAfee's
just
voice.
taking like dumb bets that probably should never that nobody should ride them, and
which they shouldn't, because every time I do
3 Sundays in a row they've hit. Now and I shouldn't, the one going back 3 weeks, that was a legit bet, but these last 2 Sundays have just been stupid bets that you probably should never do. But hey, they've worked out. Last week's was it was Travis Kelce to score. It was the Chiefs and Buccaneers game Sunday night. I needed Travis Kelce to score the first touchdown of the game. It had to be the first touchdown of the game, and then I needed Mike Evans to score 2 touchdowns. And obviously, all that happened in the first half.
Yeah.
And it was a $10 bet that paid out $1,200.
So like I said,
a good one.
2Ks is on fire.
So then I did it again today. It wasn't much of the odds were not nearly as stacked, and I was kind of being a pussy and didn't go $10. I bet $5 on it because I was like, oh, it can't happen again, right? So I do it again today in the Cardinals and Eagles game, and I go with Jalen Hurts to score the first touchdown. Jalen Hurts to score 2 touchdowns, and Marquise Hollywood Brown to score a touchdown, and it hits again in the first half. It was actually like 4 or 5 minutes into the second quarter when Marquise Brown scored his touchdown. Jalen Hurts scored the first 2 touchdowns of the game. So, yeah, I mean, the only idiot decision I made was should have had Jalen Hurts score the first 2 touchdowns of the game. Then, but that one paid out $380 or something like that on that one. Yeah,
only $380.
And then you go back three weeks ago to that Sunday. It was the Cowboys game, and that was more of a legit bet. I bet more money on it. I think I bet like $25 on it, but it was for CeeDee Lamb to have a touchdown. They were putting against the Giants, so Saquon to have a touchdown, CeeDee Lamb to have over 60 yards, and for the Cowboys on the money line to beat the Giants. And I took that, and that was like a $350 payout. So, yeah, the last 3 Sundays have been good to me.
Yeah, it's good to be 2K. It's good, not good to be turbo. I hit just enough every week to pay for what I just lost.
And I think for most sports bettors, that's how it goes. So that's what keeps you coming back. And, like right now, shit's fucking cool, but it's not going to shock me when I go the next 14 weeks and don't hit anything, and I'm just going to throw all this money that I've won right back in. And that's what happens. And that's why these sports betting apps are able to keep it going, is because of morons like me that get a few dollars in their hands and they go nuts with it and keep on trying to win more, and instead they lose all of it right back to them. So that's just how it
bills,
works.
y'all.
But you know what? It's fun. It keeps us coming back. That's why I want to tune in and want to watch football every single night of the week. I mean, Tuesday and Wednesday are the shitty days of the entire week right now, and then every other night I can watch football. So,
I equate it to like playing Keno when you're at the bar, or playing pull tabs, or doing something like that.
Yeah, I find myself like every game I can find on TV. Like it could be a game on Old Dominion versus Jacksonville, whatever, on a fucking Wednesday, and I'm on fucking FanDuel trying to find something that I can parlay up to make a bet on. Like it's a sickness.
Aren't you glad you're able to get to do FanDuel now?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So much better.
It's changed my betting life. I mean, I was betting on Barstool, and fucking. Well, sorry, Portnoy, but Barstool fucking sucks.
Yeah.
Like I will never go back to betting on that app ever.
I mean, it's cool as long as you don't look at the other books.
Yeah.
And then it serves its purpose. I mean, it does what it's supposed to. But
there's no comparison. No. I mean, FanDuel is by far the best. Or even DraftKings is not bad. I can't say really anything bad about DraftKings, but FanDuel is it's by far the best.
And to be honest with you, I don't have any I'm pretty sure. I'm almost 100% positive. I have $0 in my Barstool account, and I have $0 in my DraftKings account. So I've taken it all and putting it in FanDuel.
Yeah. The only thing I do with both of those, I still have them because I go in there and look all the time to just see if I can find free money. Mm-hmm. That's about the only thing I'm trying to do. But FanDuel gives out so much more free money and free bets than the other two probably combined. So,
well, hell, we were sitting here and I was like, so what are you rolling with? So he told me, and I went to put the bet in. I was like, well, shit, I got $25 free. Mm-hmm. On an NFL bet. Fuck yeah, let's go. We lost, but yeah, I lost free money. Well, 2Ks, we're at that hour mark, my friend.
Yeah, it went by fast.
Yeah.
It went by fast today.
Yeah. We didn't. We talked very little NFL, so we will have that. I'm sure we'll probably have kind of the same kind of rundown. There'll be less baseball games to talk about, and we'll hit more on the NFL, and it's just an exciting time of year. I've said it a million times over. This is my favorite time of year. There's so much stuff going on. The fall is, by far my favorite time of year. So, yeah. Well, 2Ks, it's good to have you back, my friend, and we will enjoy you as much as we can here. And yeah, for those of you still watching, love you to death. We actually have 3 folks watching. So good to see you all. It's good to be back. And we will, just like Mike and Mike, we're back and better than ever. So keep an eye on the studio. You'll kind of see us grow into this space a little bit. That's going to be exciting. And yeah, it's good to, it's more convenient to do it.
Sure.
At either your house or my house, but we now kind of have a dedicated space, and yes, there's the occasional car and train, but there's no dogs barking. And unfortunately, for those of you that are Morgan fans, she will not be coming to the studio with us, but she is still alive, still kicking, still ornery as hell. So I know that was so funny. So what happened to Morgan? I mean, she's still here. She's still here. Oh, well, we don't see her in the videos anymore. Oh, I didn't know you guys wanted that. I always thought it was the goal to keep the dogs out.
Yeah. No, what kind of podcast fetishes we got out there?
No, you will not be seeing either of our feet on camera either. But no, she was actually counter surfing and eating just the toppings off a pizza. A whole frozen pizza. So, but no, she is fine as wine. So, all the Morgan fans out there, if you want, I'll keep giving you updates. But as far as actually coming to the studio, probably not. Yeah. Well, 2Ks, let's get him out of here on this. And it feels good to say this, as always, Jim Rome, or should we start saying Pat McAfee?
Oh. I mean, as much as we pub up FanDuel now.
Yeah, I mean,
we keep doing this. I might have my own bet on the FanDuel that everybody can follow me.
Let's go, FanDuel. We will gladly take you on as a sponsor, or just throw in some free swag for right now, and we'll be awesome with that. But 2K Crew, I'm also going to put this in the group on Facebook. Facebook.com/group/2K Crew. What should we name the new studio? I've got an idea. I won't share it right now, but I've got an idea, and it actually kind of makes sense. Which most of the time when I make up stuff, it doesn't make sense. Like I have to, because if you have to explain something, it kind of loses its luster. But this one does need an explanation, but it's not a long one. So get in on the group. Let us know your thoughts on what we should name the studio. And speaking of the studio, thank you again to Kay and the Marcellus News. MarcellusNews.com. Get your subscription there. And as always, Jim Rome. We'll still keep it at Jim Rome for now anyway. Because he is the king. Jim Rome, we're still coming for you.